Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. Amma ba'du, welcome back to our last session for today, inshallah, and for the whole course. We're going to study, this is one of the preliminaries that we were supposed to do before commencing the book, but we were not able because the photocopy was not available, but now it's available. So we're going to do this, Babu Sifatul Adhan, and this shall be practical. It shall be practical. This shall be more practical than others. So we'll have someone to call for prayer. And you know, only men call for prayers. Women don't call for prayers. They can lead prayers, but even if it is masjid for women, a woman cannot call prayer. It has to be a man calling prayer or calling to prayer. Now, Babu Sifatul Adhan. In this, we're going to hear how did Adhan started. Adhan, how did it started? Calling to prayer. We frequently had people like 5 times a day, mu'adhin calling to prayer. How did it start? And how is it done? How many forms of adhan do we have? Do you just call anyhow? The person who gave iqama yesterday made a mistake, and I corrected him at Dhuhr time. When we came to Asr, he did it right. At Asr time, he did it right. So there is right way to do it, just not anyhow, but there is a right way to do things. Babu Sifatul Adhan, who shall read for us? It's not big thing, only that page. Okay, you can read. Okay. Babu Sifatul Adhan, yes. بالناقوس كاويهم لموافقته النصارى
طاف بي من الليل دائس وأنا نائم رجل عليه ثوبان أخضران وفي يده ناقوس يحمله قال فقلت يا عبد الله
أتبع الناقوس. Please follow, it's very important.
أتبع الناقوس قال وما
تصنع به
قال
قلت ندعو به إلى الصلاة
قال أفلا
أدلك
على الخير من ذلك فقلت بلى قال تقول الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله.
How many Allah Akbar did you say? You're supposed to say 4, you said 5. Okay.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله قال ثم استخر غير
بعيد
قال
ثم تقول
إذا أقمت
الصلاة
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح إقامة الصلاة إقامة الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله قال فلما أصبحت أتيت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فأخبرته بما رأيت فقال رسول الله إن هذه الرؤيا حق إن شاء الله ثم أمر بالتأذين فكان بلال مولى أبي بكر
يؤذن
بذلك ويدعو رسول الله
صلى الله عليه وسلم
إلى صلاة.
Yes? Okay.
قال فجاءه ذات غداة إلى الفجر فقيل له إن رسول الله.
In Mecca, we said it yesterday in the introduction, Salah was legislated in Mecca at 10th year after the Prophet ﷺ was sent, 3 years to the time of migration, 3 years before migration. But then Muslims were minority. They were not allowed even to pray in congregation. They couldn't call to prayer because they couldn't, because they were wanted. Even Muslims are hiding their iman, they're hiding their beliefs. They could be persecuted, they could be tortured. They were migrating to Abyssinia, they were migrating. So they are asylum seekers. They didn't have the freedom to come in an open place to call for prayer. That is why in Mecca there was no adhan throughout Meccan period. But in Medina, when they migrated to Medina, and now Muslims are getting large in number, and it is difficult for them to identify time for prayer, all of them. Maybe some of them, but because some of them are businessmen, they are in their markets, and some of them are farmers, they are in their farms. You have to come at a particular time. There was no watch at the time, there was no clock to say that we're going to pray 2, then you come at 2 p.m. How could we pray? Then they came together discussing this. Some of them said, why not to ring a bell? Medina is all like one area, it's like a small village. So if we ring a bell at the time of Zuhr, everyone will hear the bell and will come to pray. Just like the Christians do. The Prophet ﷺ disliked that. They said, why not use a horn, to blow a horn, just like Yahud do? It will give a big sound that people will hear. They said, this is like Jews, so we didn't need that. They said, why not to set a fire? When people saw a fire, they will say, no, it's time, we know, it's a form of communication. Then the Prophet ﷺ said, now this is how Majus do. So we don't do that. But then the opinion that the Prophet ﷺ wanted to go to was that of the Christians, because Christians are always closer to Islam than the people of other religion. Now this is what the hadith tells us. Then the hadith will tell us how it ended. Muhammad bin Ishaq and Zuhri and Sa'id bin Musayyib and Abdullah bin Zayd bin Abdi Rabbihi. This is called what? Isnad, right? It's a chain of narration. Qala. Now Abdullah bin Zayd is a companion, is the last person in the chain. He's the one narrating to us. He said, Lamma ajma'a Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam an yadriba bin naqus. When the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam inclined to ringing a bell, because it's the one that is done by the Christians, and the Christians are closer to Islam. He's inclined to that, وَهُوَ لَهُ كَارِهٌ, but he disliked that. We just need an option where we tell Muslims that it's time for prayer. From the options you mentioned, the lesser ones is just to imitate Christians. So he was inclined to that, but he disliked that. Why? لِمُوَافَقَتِهِ لِلنَّسَارَى, because by so doing, you are imitating. You are doing as the Christians do. And in our religion of Islam, we are forbidden in terms of worship to do as others do. We have to do it the way we are taught, so we don't want to emulate. That is why when he was in Mecca, I told you, they were facing where? They are facing Sham. When they migrated to Medina, now the Jews of Medina are facing Sham. Now they turned, Allah changed them the Qibla to facing Mecca. So now why would he imitate in prayer, imitate Christians? He was inclined to that, but he disliked that because it is an imitation of Christians. Then what happened? Abdullah bin Zayd said, when I was sleeping in the night, I dreamt that a person was going around me. When I saw this person in dream in the night going around me, who is speaking now? Who is speaking? Abdullah bin Zayd, the last person in the chain. Abdullah bin Zayd is a companion. He's narrating. He said, Rajulun alayhi thawbani akhdarani. It's a person with two clothes, two green clothes. He was going around me. وَفِي يَدِهِ نَاقُوسٌ يَحْمِلُهُ. He had a bell in his hand. He was holding a bell. Then I said, you know, they already had a meeting that they inclined to like using bell. فَقُلْتُ. Then I said, Ya Abdullah, أَتَبِيءُ النَّاقُوسِ. Oh, this servant of Allah, the person who is going around me. This is in a dream. Will you sound that bell for me? Qala. Then he said, وَمَا تَصْنَعُ بِهِ. What are you going to do with the bell? Qala. قُلْتُ نَدْعُو بِهِ إِلَى الصَّلَاةِ. We use it to call people to prayer. We want people to come in congregation to pray. We are going to use the bell. What happened? قَالَ أَفَلَا أَدُلُّكَ عَلَى خَيْرٍ مِّن ذَلِكَ. Then that person told me that, shouldn't I tell you something that is better than using? Why shall you people use naqus, use bell? I'll tell you something which is better. قُلْتُ بَلَى. I said, yes, tell me what is better. قَالَ. He said, تَقُولُ اللَّهُ أَكْبَرُ اللَّهُ أَكْبَرُ. Then he taught him adhan. He taught him how to call to prayer. How to call to prayer, it is 15 words. 15 words, count. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. How many? 4. Continue counting. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Now, it's number. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya ala salah. Hayya ala salah. Hayya ala falah. Hayya ala falah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah. How many words? 15 words. Now, this is the form of adhan. 15. 16? It's 15. Because you count 2, 2, 2, 2. La ilaha illallah is the only one. So it can be 16, it can be 14. It has to be an odd number. Hayya al-falaha is a mistake from, I think this is from Darul Kutub al-Ilmiya. Once you see something from Darul Kutub al-Ilmiya, this book's printed, once you see the publisher is Darul Kutub al-Ilmiya, it is cheap, but it is rubbish. You will come you come across a lot of mistakes. Sometimes when they will skip a line or two, or sometimes they will do anyhow. So most of the PDFs are from Darul Kutub al-Ilmiya. That's why you find a lot of mistakes in them. They are easy to access and things like that. So it should be Hayya al-Falah. So adhan is how many words? 15 words. Who can volunteer to call adhan for us to hear? Based on this form. Why am I asking someone to do? Because there is another form. I want to come to another form to teach us another form. It's not only one form for adhan. So who can volunteer to do adhan for us? Who? Yes, you. You did it before. Give him the mic. No. Do you need the mic? No. Don't do it with mic. Just do it. Without mic. No, you have to stand up. It's a condition. No. No. You can interchange it, but then this is what we read today. I want you to read it before coming to the one you can interchange. You know why? Because you are not singing it. You are not doing it the right way. So you said you are doing iqama. Shall we give him the mic? Give him the mic so that he will feel that he's mu'adhin.
أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
Ahsant. If you are following this hadith, based on this hadith, you can't interchange it and do it Allahu Akbar, only 2 takbir. If you are doing this form, it has to be 4 takbir. Then another Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. The takbir has to be 4 at the beginning. If you are doing it this way, this is how it is reported. Now in the next page, go to the next page. Line 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 lines from the bottom. He said, Al-Hadithu. Have you seen that? 4 lines from the bottom from the bottom of the page. From the bottom of the page, 4 lines. 4 lines up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Have you seen Al-Hadith in the mid of after full stop? Have you seen it? All. This is it here. This is it here. Al-Hadithu fihi tabi'ut takbir. Have you seen that? Have you seen that? All of you? Imam Shawkani now speaking. He said, Al-Hadithu fihi tabi'ut takbir. In this hadith, the takbir has to be 4. 4 takbir. You couldn't say 2. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. There is 4 takbir in it. وقد ذهب إلى ذلك الشافعي وأبو حنيفة وأحمد وجمهور العلماء. It is in the school of jurisprudence of Imam Shafi, Abu Hanifa, Ahmad, and majority of scholars. Kama qala an-Nawawi, as stated by Imam an-Nawawi. If you choose this form of adhan, it has to be how many takbir at the beginning? 4. It has to be 4 takbir. So you can't do it. People do it that way, but people, they don't even know that the hadith is supported by who. People just appoint themselves as mu'adhin. They will just start calling prayer anyhow. And that is why today you are different, because you know how it started. You know the hadith of who. You know what scholars said about it. Who said? Imam Shawkani said, Al-hadithu fihi tarbi'ut takbir. There are 4 takbirat at the beginning of hadith Zayd. If you are going to do this form. If you want to do the 2 takbir, if you want to do takbir, there is another hadith. Now go to the last page. Go to the last page. Someone shall read for us. The second form of adhan is this reported an Abi Mahadura. Abu Mahadura is a companion of the Prophet, but he accepted Islam at the end, like after Fatihu Makkah, after the 8th year. The Prophet ﷺ, after the conquest of Mecca, went to Hunain. And in Hunain, Abu Mahadura at the time was not a Muslim. Then he started mocking Muslims. You know, adhan, call to prayer, started in the in second year after Hijrah. When Muslims migrated to Medina in the first or second year, they started calling adhan. They did 8 years. 8 years calling adhan the way we just studied it, like 15 words. That's how adhan is. After the 8th year, when the Prophet ﷺ went back to Mecca, and after the conquest of Mecca, he went to Hunain. At Hunain, Abu Mahadura, the companion who reported this hadith, was not Muslim. And they saw Muslims when they came to Mecca calling prayer. It's something new to them, because Mecca was a house of kufr just recently. The Prophet ﷺ just came barely last 2 days, last 3 days, and he just conquered the Mecca. So they are seeing adhan, calling to prayer for the first time. Then they started mocking the Prophet ﷺ. When they saw Muslims, they would come say, but then they will run away. That these people, this is how they do. They are young boys. Then the Prophet ﷺ sent his companions to bring them. When they came, he said, I heard one of you with a very nice voice mocking us. Who is that person? Then they pointed to this Sahabi, Abu Mahdura. He said, do it again, let me hear. When he did, he said, I appoint you to be the mu'adhin of people of Mecca. He accepted Islam. Now he is the mu'adhin. Accepting Islam the first day, he became the mu'adhin. Now look at it, the wisdom. The Prophet ﷺ taught him a different form of adhan. Remember, the Muslims spent 8 years calling adhan before this moment, and they had only one form of calling adhan. But now this person accepting Islam today. In the morning, he was mocking Muslims with adhan. In the afternoon, now he's the mu'adhin. Then the Prophet taught him this form. He said, An Abi Madhura anna Rasulullah allamahu. The Prophet taught him personally hadha al-adhan, this form of adhan. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Only 2 takbir at the beginning. Then Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Then he will go back again. Thumma ya'udu fayaqul. Then he will repeat. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah again. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah again. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah again. In the first adhan, we did how many Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah? 2. How many Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah? And here how many? 4. They said because he's new revert, the Prophet wanted him to familiarize himself with Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. That's why the first one is not loud. You heard them, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Then you repeat. But these first ones are for yourself. Just like be more certain, be more sure. That's why majority of scholars did not accept this as a form of adhan. They said this is something that the Prophet taught particular person because he accepted Islam that very day and he became a mu'adhin. So the Prophet taught him to repeat Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Say it quite with a slow, not loudly, then say it loudly again. Call people. The first 2 are for yourself. and the second two are for the people you are calling to prayer. In this narration as well, in some narrations, it is 4 takbir. So if we follow this wording, how many words? 17. 17 words, because we have additional 4 and minus 2. Takbir in that was 4, and we minus 2 here and we add 4, it is 17. In another authentic narration, on this, it was 4 takbir. Therefore, we have now 3 forms of adhan, either 15 words or 17 words or 19 words. Is that understood? Okay. So going back to that hadith, it's time, right? Okay. So it's sufficient. We just know that we have 2 forms of adhan. The majority of scholars are of the opinion that we take the first one that is done in Medina for the whole period of the Prophet ﷺ, and the second one is the one the Prophet ﷺ taught Abu Mahdura. We need to know that there are these 2 forms of adhan. So when we had someone lowering his voice and then speaking loudly, we know how it started, we know who the Prophet ﷺ taught this adhan. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. It has been a pleasure, it's been very nice. We hope that Allah accepted what we did, and we hope Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make all of us to reunite in Jannah, and before them in Abuja again, before Jannah inshallah.